Good evening, everyone. Please take a seat. If I could have your attention, we'd like to start in just a minute or two. Would you please take a seat? Everyone's taller than me. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our meeting tonight. We're holding our third Community at Large meeting for the General Hospital feasibility study. I would just like to say that we're very pleased that you could join us tonight. I'd like to make sure that you have, that you know that this meeting is being webcast live for the first time. And I just want to make sure also that you know that we have interpreters available today who can speak Spanish and Cantonese, and they will make an announcement.
Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Diana y yo voy a ser la intérprete esta tarde. Si alguien necesita interpretación, por favor, alce la mano y yo les voy a proporcionar el equipo. A su vez, esta reunión se está llevando a cabo en vivo vía el web. Esta es la primera vez que se hace. Gracias.
歡迎大家今日嚟到我哋嘅社區會議啦。咁我哋今日會有廣東話嘅翻譯，如果有需要嘅話咧，可以嚟到左手邊呢度攞你嘅耳機，我哋會提供翻譯嘅服務嘅。唔該晒。
I just want to add that we also have Mandarin interpretation available tonight as well. So thank you, everyone. The first thing I'd like to do is to make sure that you have all the items you need for tonight's meeting. We have an agenda available. We have frequently asked questions available if you'd like. We also have a special worksheet that we're going to do tonight. I want to make sure everyone picked one up. So, and also stickers. We'd like to make sure that you have some of the stickers available as part of our exercise tonight. Welcome, everyone, again. I'd like to now introduce our first speaker, and it's Guadalupe Medina Duran, who is representing Supervisor Hilda Solis tonight.
Thank you, Catherine. Good evening, everyone, and welcome for joining us here tonight. I am very honored to be here on behalf of Supervisor Solis. She sends her many thanks to all of you for joining us on this evening. For many of you who have joined us in many of our meetings such as these, you have become aware that the LAC USC Medical Campus site is a key catalytic site for the supervisor. She sees a great opportunity to create community benefit, and in particular, a healthy village vision through shared community goals. Over the past year, the CEO office has been working closely on community engagement involving many entities, including the various stakeholders from our steering committee for the General Hospital, the various stakeholders from the Health Innovation Community Partnership, many stakeholders such as you who have joined us after coming to meetings such as these. This is our third Community at Large community meeting, and they've joined us. And one of the things that has been a shared goal is that we are trying to address the community's needs and desires as we carry out this feasibility study for the General Hospital. It's a very key opportunity for everyone. They have started looking at the potential uses, incorporating community participation with a focus on community services, housing, jobs and job training, and access to and within the campus. At the end of the study, the proposed reuse options will need to be financially feasible through leveraging public resources as much as possible and tap into private investment as needed. The reuse options report back to the board should combine a mix of uses to provide a greater amount of services and career opportunities to our current and future generation of residents, housing across all income levels to address our community's housing needs with a special emphasis on housing for our disadvantaged and low-income residents, and uses which will create a vibrant, healthy village on the medical campus site that is woven into our community. Again, thank you again for your input. It's going to be very critical tonight to hear from you again and through every meeting as we go forward. And it's very critical because this will present an opportunity for the future, not of just our current, but our generations to come. Thank you.
Oh, can you keep, you're good at that. Hi, my name is Ari Gutierrez. I am a co-founder of the Latino Equality Alliance, which is an LGBT advocacy organization that is based here in Boyle Heights. We're working with the Building Healthy Communities initiative, and also that's how we got involved with the Wellness Center, which is situated at the basement, in the main level of General Hospital. And so with that work, we've really learned a lot about how do we inform the wellness and the needs of our community. And also, part of that was this Health Innovation Community Partnership. And that's really kind of special because it's putting together community and government agents, the people who work for the county and other government agencies, and working together and thinking together about how we can collaborate on making sure that we meet those needs. We know that community asks for one thing, and then government says, oh, this is how we do it. This is how things are done. And so we have to be able to communicate across channels and to be able to come up with the right solution for everybody. So and Rosa is here with the Wellness Center. Rosa, if you want to come up and join. But I think that one of the things that we wanted to make sure to highlight is the Wellness Center is already part of the General Hospital, but on that medical campus, what we call the hospital itself, the old General Hospital, the medical center, the USC educational buildings, and then all of the other buildings that are there on that print, you'll see some of the maps that we're going to talk about today. We're calling that the medical campus, LAC USC Medical Campus. So we want to make sure that the work the ideas that we are able to share today are going to make sense for that space. So I just want to highlight that in terms of the work that we're doing tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Rosa Soto, and thank you so much, Ari. Ari, if you can stay here. So part of our mission over the last year is to get the word out of this wonderful table that is the Health Innovation Community Partnership. As has been explained, the Board of Supervisors wanted to make sure that there's a space every year for us to be able to come together and decide sort of what needs to happen as it relates to our community and connecting with our community. So that's what the Health Innovation Community Partnership offers us. The 7 areas of priority that are here is where we started. And tonight you'll see, I think we've separated into 11 categories now. Is it 11? 11 categories now that are part of the General Hospital reuse. So all of these priorities for us are really important that they be mapped out, and that is one of the exercises that you'll be doing today. What our hope through the Health Innovation Partnership is that we will learn from you, learn from this process, and be able to engage into the broader process of the Healthy Village, as you described, which is that LAC USC Medical Center campus. So for that, we invite you to come and participate. Those are monthly meetings at the Medical Center. The next one is January 10th at 8:30 in the morning at the medical campus, and we invite you to participate with us in that space. And finally, as you were mentioning, these community meetings, if we can go to the next slide, we had a number of community meetings already. There have been 7 of them, and these are all of the areas that you see on this list where we've actually had meetings and gathered thoughts. And we have close to 600 comments that have come from those community meetings that we are tracking, that we are ensuring are part of the processes, specifically those that involve planning and new spaces. And so the Restorative Care Village is one of those pieces. Today's feasibility study is another one. And it's been a wonderful opportunity, if we can go to the next slide, where we are gathering your thoughts in many different ways. And so in the first round, it was more about what were you excited about and what would you like to see different. In this process, it's more about what specifically can we do in the General Hospital and West Campus. And so we invite you to continue to give your input and participate in those meetings with us. There's only one more slide if we can leave the last one up. But just thanking everyone for your time if you've participated with us. And I want to invite our CEO, Jorge Orozco, who's here tonight, who wants to make sure that you are aware of what we do at the LAC USC Medical Center campus every day, and just thanking you for your time with us tonight. Jorge?
Good evening, everyone. Really, I'm here just to give you a sincere thank you for taking the time to help us in this process. LAC USC Medical Center is very important to our community. And we want to make sure that whatever we do on that campus really benefits us, our community. And this is what this process is about, specifically about the old General Hospital. What should we do with it? How should it look? How does it integrate into a large academic medical center campus? Does it make sense? And we're depending on all of you to help guide us into this future. So thank you again for taking the time, and please speak up and let us know what you think.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see you all here. I see a few familiar faces and a few new faces while Deanna's changing out the slideshow. How many people have come to a previous community meeting focused on General Hospital? Oh, great. Well, welcome back, and thanks to all of you who came here tonight. My name is Kelly Quinn. I work for LA County Chief Executive Office. I'm the manager of the Master Planning Unit, and our job is to develop strategic reuse plans for county facilities and county properties. I'm here tonight because my team is responsible for developing the feasibility study, but I don't do this all by myself. I'm working with Ivan Matthews, who's standing in the back. Ivan, please give Ivan a round of applause. We're also here with our fabulous consultant team, AECOM. AECOM is headquartered right in downtown Los Angeles. They're a global architecture and engineering firm, in fact, the largest in the world. And we have here from AECOM Deanna Weber, who's going to do a lot of the presentation tonight, and Paul Penninger, and Jessica Cisco is over here. And Maria Padel is probably right there. Okay. With AECOM, they hired Chattel Inc. Chattel is a historic preservation consultant who has a tremendous amount of background on General Hospital. We have with us, of course, Barrio Planners. Frank, wave your hand. And son of Frank, Alex, wave your hand back there. They're helping us with community engagement. And then we have Catherine Padilla and Associates, who you've already met. If you could go to the next, well, we did all that. You have translation services. If you don't have what you need, please see Jessica or Catherine in the front, and they can help you. We are live casting on the web our meeting tonight, which is a first for us, but we plan on doing it again. Tonight, there are kind of three main parts of the meeting. First, we're going to give you an update of the study. Second, we'll give you a chance to walk around and look at the boards in what we're calling our open house. And we'll have you participate in a community vision mapping activity. And third, we'll answer some questions that you have. And then, of course, our favorite part of the meeting, the three, not just one this time, the three gift baskets in the back. And I saw a lot of Godiva chocolate back there, so I think four gift baskets. So, you can go to the next slide. So one of our main goals tonight is to share with you what we've learned about the types of services and uses you would like to see in General Hospital in the West Campus area. Another important goal, of course, is to share back with you what we've learned and heard from you in our other previous meetings. And then this community vision mapping activity will help us develop future reuse ideas, learning what and where you'd like to see various uses on the West Campus and in General Hospital. Before I turn it over to Deanna, our AECOM lead, I just want to recognize the members of the General Hospital Feasibility Study Community Engagement Steering Committee. Please stand up. You have helped us tremendously in getting to this meeting and to making sure that it works for the community. And please, thank you. Round of applause. And with that, I'll give it to Deanna for some background on the feasibility study. Thanks.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for joining us tonight. How many people were at the first public week workshop? If you could raise your hand. Thank you. How many folks were at the second public workshop? Great. Glad you're here. So tonight we will give you some background that we've covered at the first two workshops, and then we'll also be looking forward to getting your feedback, particularly on the community vision map exercise. But a little bit of background first for us. It's important to note that this particular General Hospital feasibility study is based on the board motion that you could see here of really bringing the iconic asset of General Hospital back to life. We'll also be addressing the county's tremendous needs for homeless, low-income, high-need population residential options. We'll be complementing the LAC-USC Wellness Center, and also a mission-aligned reuse of housing and mixed use for the proposed building. The Healthy Village vision is important to note that we're going to be striving to develop a comprehensive, holistic, healthy village with a whole person care concept, a healthy and economic resilient community in East Los Angeles, and helping the most vulnerable population, providing recuperative care and wraparound services, to name a few. The study area we want to call your attention to first begins with General Hospital. It's a large building, as you know, with 1.2 million square feet. In addition to the General Hospital study area, we also are looking at what we refer to as West Campus. West Campus is bounded by North Mission Road, Zonal, State Street, and Marengo. The West Campus is approximately 31 acres, but in the West Campus, it's important to note there's a number of existing and proposed uses. Those uses include the Medical Examiner Corner, the Restorative Care Village Phases 1 and 2, the proposed Child Care Center, and also future potential health services and additional health needs. When we subtract out those areas, we have approximately 12 acres on the West Campus to consider part of the Healthy Village concept. The purpose of this study is really to effectively respond to the board motion. It's to engage the community in events like tonight in the process. And it's really, ultimately, we'll be striving to develop 3 financially alternatives for reuse, and we'll be developing a roadmap for implementation. Some may ask, what is a feasibility study? Well, it's basically a study looking at the existing General Hospital building and the various land around it. We're looking at existing conditions, we're looking at required improvements, opportunities and constraints, all in association with community input and community needs. It's important to note that in this process, we're going to be striving to look within the larger community context. On this particular graphic, we are looking at first the LA County context. Within LA County, we can look at the variety of surrounding communities within Los Angeles County. Within that context, we have encompassing the LAC USC Medical Center. And then within the LAC USC Medical Center, there's really 3 different key focus areas we want to call your attention to, but it's in the synergy or in the nexus between those different circles, we want to focus on reuse options. So the first circle we'll highlight is community input and needs. We have learned a lot from listening so far to the community on what the needs are, and we're learning a lot more at activities such as tonight. We'll also be looking at the county department requirements and technical challenges. Those county departments make it necessary, essentially, to improve General Hospital with necessary and extensive improvements. We also will be addressing the county's plans to maintain and expand the health uses. Within that, we also will be addressing funding sources. Making repairs to the General Hospital will be hundreds of millions of dollars. So we need to look at financing sources, and we'll be talking about that more later. Multiple funding sources essentially will be needed to explore public, private, and revenue-generating uses. But it's really within the context or the nexus of those reuse options as we look at the middle of the Venn diagram, where we're going to be looking at addressing community input and needs, technical challenges, the county department needs, as well as funding sources. And ultimately, the Board of Supervisors will determine the next steps in the feasibility process. The timeline to highlight where we're at in the process, basically you can see with the green line, we're here at Community at Large meeting number 3, and we're going to be addressing key considerations this evening. Next year in 2020, we'll be coming back with Community at Large meeting number 4, when we'll be sharing with you draft reuse alternatives. In addition, we'll be coming back and looking at a refined set of proposed reuse alternatives or options in June of next year. It's important to note that the process just doesn't end there. The next phase is really the Board of Supervisors will determine the next steps in the process. However, the feasibility study is set to conclude in June of 2020. In those next steps, we would anticipate community engagement to continue on in this process. The community engagement process will be highlighting a few aspects of that this evening, and we want to share with you what we've been learning from the community. As mentioned earlier by Kelly, is the community engagement team is a variety of folks that was previously mentioned. We have the Health Innovation Community Partnership. We have 5 Community at Large meetings, many additional meetings, stakeholder meetings, pop-up meetings, etc., and also a variety of communication tools, social media, etc., to stay engaged in the process. We also want to thank the Community Engagement Steering Committee, and Monica will talk a little bit more about that in detail.
Hi, everybody. My name is Monica Alcaraz. I am a resident of Highland Park, but I was born at General Hospital. I also had my son there. So I have a lot of ties. I work with people that are experiencing homeless in Boyle Heights and the Northeast area. So I'm very involved in the community. I think it's really important for all of us to be involved and to make sure that our needs are met whenever government wants to do something. So I've been involved since the very beginning. I'm part of the Health of Innovation Partnership and also part of the committee that helps steer the feasibility study. So it's very, very important, and when we say that we want the community feedback, we really need it. You are here, let us know what you want. We've already had, I wouldn't say 10 meetings, including the feasibility study meetings, where we're going out to the community, and we're gonna continue to go out into the community, so please let people know to be part of this. You know, a lot of times, something happens and we say, oh, I wasn't notified. But this is your chance to say what you need, what you want to see, and to continue to get the community involved. So please continue to be part of this. And I really want to thank Supervisor Solis's office for starting the Health Innovation Partnership, which our goal is to make sure that the communities are met and that what we do at the campus is what the community needs. Thank you.
Thanks, Monica. So what we've learned from the community, as we mentioned, we've had 2 previous workshops, the first with about 165 participants back in June of this last year, the East LA Skills Center in June of 2019, and about 125 participants at workshop number 2. So we're excited that you're here tonight. And we want to share what we've been hearing and learning so far from the community. We had a series of exercises where you went up to the boards and put dots on the boards. Some of the information that we've been learning for starting with housing. There's a whole variety of types of housing we want to make sure that we provide. Some of the key types of housing that we've heard from the community that's important is senior housing, smaller units, multi-generational units, and family size units. Basically, the size of the dot means there was more stickies or dots placed in that particular area on the board. There's also a variety of types of housing, and we'll be talking about that at each of the different stations in more detail, particularly the housing section. We heard from folks that there's an important need, starting with supportive and homeless housing, followed by very low-income housing. Low-income housing, extremely low-income housing, middle workforce housing, moderate-income housing, and market-rate housing. And those housing types are defined by what we refer to as area medium income, and you can see the different definitions. We also have a handout in the back on the various types of defining affordable housing and how those different types are identified. What we've also learned from the community in this process is the importance of the need for providing support services. And that ranges from social support services to workforce and health career training centers, health supportive services, to mention a few. In addition, the importance of youth and seniors in the community. The senior center, a child care center, after-school homework help, and what we refer to as a STEAM space, also known as science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, to name a few. We also are learning from the community the importance from the first 2 meetings, the importance of, there's a large commercial kitchen in the General Hospital building. Perhaps that commercial kitchen could be repurposed as an incubator for small businesses. Within General Hospital and West Campus, we've also learned there's an interest of providing incubator space for businesses, and perhaps a small budget extended stay type hotel. There was a former Howard Johnson's across the street, so the concept of a hotel was brought up. We'll talk about that more next. The importance also of retail, specifically a grocery store, because it's a food desert in the area. Healthy food spaces such as eateries or restaurants, perhaps even a pharmacy or other small business retail opportunities. In addition to commercial spaces, arts and culture was also highlighted as an important need. You can see that here with the largest number of dots on that particular board, followed by a historic commemorative space, perhaps a library, and plaza spaces. In addition to the healthy village concept, the idea of a community garden, a fitness recreation center, small open spaces or pocket parks, a jogging trail or a walking trail, and perhaps even our farmers market were other uses that we've all been learning that are important, that we've learned from the community. We also have been learning about the building of General Hospital itself. There's a great photo here from 1933. We know the building is a very large 19-story, 1.2 million square foot large building. It is officially determined eligible for listing on the National Historic Register of Places. In addition, within the building, if you haven't been on a tour, here's a few photos here. We also have more photos at the boards right there by station number 3 that Maria is pointing out. There's a beautiful lobby space. In fact, the murals on the ceiling of the lobby are being restored currently. In addition, there's a library space, as you can see here, the large commercial kitchen, and this is what's known as the surgery theater, quite a remarkable space. So we refer to these areas as opportunity areas. So think about how we can reuse General Hospital using these opportunity areas. In addition, the building itself is remarkable. There's 13 different elevator systems. And when you couple that with lobby space, you could have about 13 different areas of the building. So when we look at the building and start breaking up the building into different building blocks, each of the different colored areas represents perhaps a different type of building use. What's important in this is we could have perhaps, let's say, one type of housing or a variety of types of housing, let's say in one block of space. In another block of space, perhaps, you could have medical office space, and they all have their own individual elevator and lobby space. In addition, to point out that the first floor itself, which is the large rust color area here, number 1, that particular space is a big, large floor plate. It probably is best used, it's where the wellness center is now, might be best used for office space, other supportive social services, etc., perhaps retail, etc. With that space and the space below in the basement, which could be loading dock, parking, storage, etc., those 2 floors, believe it or not, the basement and the first floor make up about 1/3 of the building. So as you can see from looking, though, at the remaining 18 floors, there's a lot of windows, a lot of natural light. Those would be great spaces perhaps for housing or for office space in particular. So what improvements need to be made to General Hospital? Some folks think because the building's there, we can just move right in. Well, there's a number of improvements that need to be made first before the reuse of the building. Specifically, we need structural wall foundation strengthening. We need removal of some of the hazardous material and lead abatement. We'll need new fire protection, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, etc. We'll also be maintaining those historic spaces and preserving them. We'll also need to develop parking solutions and expanded public transit options, to name just a few. We've highlighted it here in orange, the General Hospital building, but also the 2 forecourt buildings and the tunnel space all the way to the pharmacy, as well as the medical examiner corner admin space. All of these buildings in orange are formally determined eligible for the National Register of Historic Spaces. In addition, when we look a little bit closer on the West Campus, I won't go into too much detail on this because we've got a board right there at Station 3, and they can highlight all of the details for you there. But I do want to call your attention to, it's basically the green area is the remaining area that we're going to be targeting for reuse when we consolidate different facilities that are currently on the site. When we first look at West Campus, we've got the medical examiner corner. We need to allow for expansion of that particular use. Parking lot, parking structure P10, that is currently, we know we need parking. However, there's an opportunity perhaps to repurpose that particular area and allow for retail or mixed use right along the street with the parking in a more efficient layout behind that particular building. So that might be a free, usable, developable site. We also need to keep in mind the Restorative Care Village Phase 1 and 2 in this particular area to respond to those proposed uses with wraparound services, as well as the proposed child care center. We have a series of existing easements we'll be maintaining, so we'll not be putting the buildings on those particular easement areas. We have a central plant that most likely would be expanded, and ultimately, as you can see here, this is in the green area, and we can highlight it on the board as well for you with more detail. Those are the 12 areas in the West Campus that we're looking to ultimately repurpose and reuse as part of the Healthy Village concept. Key considerations we want to call your attention to this evening include community services, rental housing, job growth and training, specifically as it relates to office space, retail, food service, hospitality, public access, transit, parking, clean energy, sustainability, and ultimately, Paul will help wrap it up with cost as well as funding sources. So if we first think about community services, the board over here next to Kelly at Station 4 is where if you want to talk about what the variety of types of community services we need to be considering, we want to hear your thoughts on that. It includes some of the items we've mentioned earlier, such as the after-school STEAM center, the art and cultural space, the historic commemorative space, the job training, the library, meeting rooms, perhaps a preschool or daycare, senior center, health and social supportive services, perhaps expanding the wellness center, and more. These are all really important existing community services and proposed community services to complement what's on site and what could potentially be expanded. In addition, it's important to note that LA County owns the property, LA County owns the building, so because of that, all of the housing that's being proposed would be rental housing. So within rental housing, it's a good fit for many of the blocks of space that we looked at earlier in General Hospital. The rental housing can provide much needed housing for disadvantaged and low-income residents. It also may help address some of the lack of housing opportunities in the county. So attracting people to live on the medical center will require establishing a healthy village and a vibrant mix of diverse uses to support the variety of housing found in neighborhoods that grow organically. So within the housing, it's important to be able to provide a balance of all types of housing to achieve the county community goals and support financial feasibility. We want to make sure that housing will be addressing a wide spectrum, a variety of users. Within rental housing, and we have a board of that right over here at Station 4, so we can talk with you more and learn your thoughts on this. But these are some of the different types of housing uses we had mentioned earlier, such as the family size units, the senior units, the multi-generational units, family units, small units, etc., and the whole variety of different types of housing as well. When we expand and think in addition to housing, office may not come to your mind. However, it's important to bring up that when we say office, it could be a variety of types of office. For example, it could be medical office space. It could be incubator space for small businesses. It could be commercial office space, or even LA County office space could potentially move into General Hospital or be located on the West Campus. What the office space does is it helps to create jobs and career paths for the community and future generations. We're able to partner with schools and colleges in the county to provide job training and long-term career opportunities. Office space also helps us to drive activity, for example, for eateries or the dry cleaner or the credit union or the bank, etc. So it creates a healthy synergy of uses within the community itself. In addition to office, we can also be thinking about retail food service, and those healthy eating options could include eateries, taquerias, credit union, dry cleaners, grocery store, the commercial kitchen repurposed with specialty food retailers are just a few. It's important to note that all of these create job opportunities and opportunities for job training as well. It complements our 24/7 activity in the Healthy Village. Hospitality also may be something that may not initially come to mind as well. It's important to note, though, when folks may be having services, much needed services at the LACUSC Medical Center, their families may need a place to stay. So there's a couple different options to think about. The first being a nonprofit community serving hotel. If you've ever been to a Ronald McDonald House, that would be an example where the child may be receiving medical care and the family is able to stay right very close to the medical center for very low cost, if at all, if any cost. In addition, we can think about perhaps a small budget extended stay type hotel, and it really could help support the patients and their families receiving medical care. It could also help support visiting medical professionals, short-term housing for relocating staff. What's important to note on the hospitality spectrum of uses is it really creates an opportunity for partnering with schools and colleges for a job career path. It's employment at multiple levels of income, and it starts to create an opportunity of a career path within a large established industry. What's important to note, though, with the opportunities and challenges, one of the challenges that would need to be addressed is there would be a need to provide ways to help local residents secure those job opportunities, and also the nonprofit option would require ongoing funding and support in the process. In addition to the various uses, we want to continue to emphasize the need to provide easy access to General Hospital from a pedestrian perspective, from a bike perspective. We want to improve sidewalks and pathways. We want to create barrier-free ADA access to the site. We also want to increase the frequency of local commuter buses and provide a proposed MetroLink stop basically on the existing Metrolink San Bernardino line between Cal State and Union Station. And there's an existing shuttle service already that helps to serve the campus. We want to be able to expand that shuttle service as well. And then, as we all know, there's a need for parking and more parking on the campus. That's going to continue to be an emphasis in the feasibility study process. And before I move to cost and funding sources, Paul will take us through, it's important to note that LA County adopted a county-wide sustainability plan that sets forth a number of key goals. This particular project would basically incorporate clean energy solutions for resiliency and targeting financing resources. We would be providing a sustainable and resilient campus for the future. We also want to, what we call, future-proof the campus, to get the campus ready for future potential needs and incorporate the LA County sustainability plan and goals. And I'm also going to invite Paul up front. He's going to be sharing with you just 2 slides before we wrap it up and get into the community exercise on cost and funding.
Thanks, Deanna. As Deanna mentioned a little bit earlier, there's going to be a variety of improvements that will need to be made to this historic building in order to make it ready for reuse with housing, with retail, with potentially office, and most importantly, with community-serving uses in the future. When looking at the building, we divided those costs, those investments that need to be made, into a few big buckets of categories. The first category is what we call base case improvements, and so that means things like seismically upgrading the building to make it safe in the event of an earthquake. It means removing some of the existing hazardous materials that are in the building right now, like lead paint. It also means removing some of the out-of-date existing mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems that won't be useful in the future. Beyond the building itself, there are also a variety of site improvements that will need to be made across the General Hospital campus. So things to improve circulation, public space, open space. Parking. We've heard very clearly from the community and from our colleagues who work and live around General Hospital that parking is a major concern. So obviously, improved parking and improved circulation and mobility strategy are one additional category of improvements that need to be made. We also know that we'll need to be putting in new systems into the building, so upgrading, modernizing, and putting in new and improved systems in the building, new mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems to bring this historic, beautiful building up to the standards that it needs to be to accommodate new housing. And then finally, tenant improvements. So we don't know what the exact final mix of uses is going to be, but we know that whatever the tenants are, whoever are locating in this building will need to be making some investments in the space to make it usable for housing, for office, for retail. And as Deanna alluded to earlier, the challenge with this is that this is going to cost on the order of hundreds of millions of dollars in order to make these improvements. And the county today doesn't have a dedicated source of funding to support those improvements. However, and this is the good news and the opportunity, if I can get it to advance, is that there are a whole host of federal, state, local, and private sources that can be leveraged to support the redevelopment of General Hospital. And there are community partners. There certainly are county staff and community partners who are very expert at assembling these different sources of funding to build things like affordable housing, to build community-serving uses. In terms of the types of funding sources that are available, I want to start with the federal government and the federal sources. So federal low-income housing tax credits are one source that could potentially be leveraged for this. Also, federal historic preservation tax credits could be leveraged. At the state level, there are sources like the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Program that comes from cap and trade funding that supports building affordable housing on sites that are transit accessible and are in areas of opportunity. At the local level, of course, in LA County and the city of LA, there are already a variety of housing and transportation and community development funding sources that exist. And typically the way that these deals work out is that there could be up to 10 to 15 different sources of funding, from the federal to the state to the local, to make a deal feasible. It's also often quite likely that you will need to engage with the private sector, with private investors through public-private partnerships in order to leverage private sector resources in order to redevelop sites like this. So those are some of the kind of broad categories of sources that are available. Obviously, we want to hear from you more this evening. That's the point of this evening, so I'm going to stop talking. And we'll be at Station 5 to answer any of your questions. Jessica.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, we're going to move into the open house portion of the meeting now. I'm going to take a few minutes to orient you to the open house and our plan for the next 30 minutes or so. We have 6 stations set up around the room. The content in the stations duplicates the presentation, so if there was a particular aspect of the presentation that you have questions about or you'd like to get more information about, you can visit that station. I would like to point out that stations 4, 5, and 6 are really the most critical stations. If you're pressed for time, please make sure you visit those, and that you complete the community vision map that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. A couple of housekeeping items. I don't think we had anyone take advantage of the Cantonese interpretation, but we do have Cantonese interpretation, and we have a Mandarin-speaking facilitator as well. And we have Spanish-speaking facilitators available at each station. Station 1 in the back is the content related to what is the feasibility study and an overview of the study. Station 2 is the community engagement station. So if you have questions about community engagement activities that have been completed to date or what we've learned from the community so far, you can visit Station 2. Station 3 is essentially what we've learned about General Hospital and West Campus. Station 4 presents information related to the uses that Deanna went over just a few minutes ago. So community services, housing, retail, office. So if you have questions about any of that or you'd like to dig into it a little bit more, you can visit Station 4. And as Paul said, he'll be at Station 5 in the corner, and that's where a lot of the cost and funding content is. During the open house, you'll have a few ways that you can provide feedback. So we have comment cards distributed around the room. Feel free to write down any comments you might have. We also have flip charts set up at different points around the room, so if there's something that you feel like doesn't necessarily relate to a specific station, but you want to make sure that you provide that feedback, you can use the flip charts. We also have Post-its, so if you see something on a board that you'd like to comment about or ask a question, you can use a Post-it and write that down. I'm going to describe the most important part of the evening, which is where we hear your ideas. As you walked in, you all should have received a community vision map. If there's anyone that doesn't have one, please raise your hand and we'll make sure that we get you one. Okay, we'll start distributing those. There's a couple of hands up. The community vision map is an activity that we'd like to use to collect your ideas that you feel would best benefit the community. So on the map, you'll see some orange areas. Those orange areas already have dedicated uses. So as you're thinking about what you would like to see in and around General Hospital and in and around West Campus, if you can, please try to place your stickers in the white areas, as those don't have dedicated uses. So I'll explain this activity a little bit. Many of the uses that Deanna covered in the presentation are listed along the top of the worksheet. Those are some ideas in terms of potential uses that you could place either on General Hospital, in and around General Hospital, or in West Campus. Along with that list of uses, we have some pre-made stickers, and we have these in English and Spanish and Cantonese, and the worksheet and the community vision map is in those languages as well. So as you're working on your community map, you can take a look at the stickers and place them relatively where you think those uses could best benefit the community. In some cases, we've got multiple stickers. So you'll see, for rental housing, there are 5 stickers. That's just to give you a chance to place them in more than one location if you feel that there should be rental housing in more than one location, for example. When we reconvene at 7:40, if you could please turn in your community maps, because what will happen is that the team will go back and take a look at the ideas that you've shared tonight in terms of which uses should go where, and think about that relative to the Venn diagram or the circles that Deanna presented at the beginning of the meeting in terms of, we have community input and needs, we've got technical challenges and departmental requirements, and then we have cost and funding sources. So trying to look at all of that at the same time to be able to figure out how we can take the input that's provided tonight and help inform the draft reuse options that are presented at the next community at large meeting in the spring. Are there any questions about the community vision map? Okay. There's a couple of examples of some maps that were completed at the Health Innovation Community Partnership last Friday. So you can see how people placed their stickers where they felt that the uses could best benefit the community. And again, if you could focus the stickers in the white area outside of the orange areas, because the orange areas are existing uses or dedicated land. Yes. And if you could please write your name. Oh, write them in. Yeah, and at the bottom of the sheet, you've also got right in here where you can write any additional ideas that you might have for uses that you would feel could benefit the community in and around General Hospital or on West Campus. And again, I'll reiterate that some of the uses have multiple stickers, and the intent there is to allow you to place those uses where you think that they should go, but the results aren't being assessed quantitatively. So, put the uses where you think that they should go, but more stickers doesn't necessarily, we won't add up the number of stickers. Okay, with that, I think we'll break into the open house and we'll plan on reconvening around 7:40.
Just one quick announcement. Should you, just for your information, the restrooms are out through the door across the courtyard, and I have staff that can help direct you to the restrooms if you're interested. Just so you'll be comfortable. Thank you, everyone. Hi to our online viewers. We just want to let you know that the interactive portion of our meeting has started and people are visiting all the displays and talking to staff. You will have a chance to view the displays right now. Thank you. just a quick time check. We have 5 minutes, and then we're going to reconvene, so I'm asking you to please focus on getting your worksheet done, please. So 5 minutes, and then we're going to reconvene. And also, would you please put your names on your worksheets, please? Thank you. Thanks, everyone. I think we're ready to reconvene. But the most important question, has everyone put their raffle tickets in? Have to be present to win, of course. But has everyone put their raffle tickets in? Last call. We have 4 prizes. What are you going to do at the very end? Oh. Come on. Are you leaving?
Did I get to enter the raffle?
Heck no. No.
Just a quick reminder that you're going to hang on to the mic because it's the same gal from Hot Springs.
Yes. Okay, I know everyone's having a great time, but we are going to reconvene. Could I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Okay, so we are ready to reconvene. May I have your attention, please? We are going to open this up for Q&A. So for the next 10 minutes or so, we would like to, if you have questions, we'd love to hear them. So, I need your attention, please. Paul? Consultant team. Kelly Quinn is ready to answer your questions.
I'm ready to answer your question.
Okay. So we'd like to open it up for questions and answers. Is there anyone that has any questions that they would love to ask the consultant team?
Here we go.
Adi and then Dr. Williams. I'm doing it a little
Okay,
differently.
it's okay.
You might hate
That's
it.
good. No, that's
I'm
good.
going to hold the mic.
That's good. So a question came up that by one of the participants that there's some county property like across the street on, I think, Mission Street, and so whether or not that could be included as part of the West Campus project.
So that is a great question, Ari. That property is owned by LA County, and it's being included as part of the overall restorative care village planning. So it's spoken for.
Repeat that again, Kelly,
Sure.
just for clarity, the question then.
Sure, and I think Ari's talking about the property that's over here in this corner. Is that what you're talking about? I don't know if we've got a site plan. Yeah, I guess we can work with that. So it's at the intersection of, I'm having a senior moment, Mission and Soto, Zonal, senior moment. There you go. Deanna's tall. She's pointing at it. Kitty corner across from the Women and Children's Hospital. And that parcel, which has a child care center on it now and 2 former vacant laboratory buildings. The child care center is being replaced, as Deanna mentioned, in this area here. And the laboratory buildings would eventually come down, and I believe the plan for that property currently is for permanent supportive housing with support services, wraparound services for the people living there. Great question.
Dr. Williams. I'm going to hold mics tonight.
Okay. Number one, all of the slides presented are largely unreadable, especially if you're back 60 feet away from them. So give us a link for all of the boards, all of the slides, and at time, say, give us 2 weeks to respond, say January 1 or 2, so that we can submit meaningful comments regarding this project. My greatest concern is that it's county property, and the relationship to, as one of the boards said, public-private partnership. So we may be submitting a PRA request, Public Records Act request, regarding USC and the county's relationship on this project site. Thank you.
Thank you.
Where do we put these?
So for anyone who has signed up when they first came in and provide their email address, we will email you the PowerPoint slides so that you can have that and look at it at your convenience. Great. And Ivan, thank you, is reminding me that the FAQs that were handed out, you can contact Alex Villalobos, and he's got his email and his phone number. And he's raising his hand right back there. And it's up on the screen behind me. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
We have one over here. Sorry. Ooh. Okay.
She's before me.
I know, okay. Anyway, so I think it's important to note that USC is not part of this project, right?
Yeah,
So we just
yeah.
want to say that this is LAC USC in the sense of USC, the general hospital, but USC is not part of this project.
Yeah, thanks, Monica. It is confusing for the community to have LAC plus USC on the building, the new hospital. It was confusing to me when I first started working for the county. I've only worked for the county for about 3 years. The reason USC has its name on the building is because almost all the doctors are USC doctors. And LA County and USC have a long-standing relationship. It's the teaching hospital for USC, and without USC, we wouldn't have doctors, and without our building, they wouldn't have a hospital. USC is not involved in this feasibility study. I have actually never talked to a single person from USC about this process. I don't know if they're coming to our community meetings, but they're not engaged in the process at all.
Hi. We spoke privately over here. I want to
Yes.
emphasize some of the things I said to you publicly.
Sure, thank you.
First of all, to me, the most important thing you're showing up here is homeless and low-income housing. We've been in Lincoln Heights for a number of years, and it's becoming gentrified rapidly. There's a lot of Mexican-American and Asian folks that are being priced out of the neighborhood. I mean, radically priced out of the neighborhood. And it seems to me, when you've got such a large project like there, the old county hospital, you've got an astounding amount of funding that was the electorate voted for in the LA City. As we talked over here, LA City and LA County have combined their forces about low-income and homeless housing. There's zero reason that a good chunk of this hospital can't be used for this purpose and knock out the problem, or knock out a lot of the problem. We see so many people that are homeless on the street. We purposely know that about at least 3 that have died in the last 5 years. And young people, we see people that are in their 50s that look like they're in their 80s, they're so messed up. And it's not just homeless housing, it's people that live in the neighborhood, and that woman gets to be 25 years old, she's getting married, and she wants to live in the neighborhood near her parents. They're very, very family-oriented, and they can't afford it. It's just so ridiculously expensive. On the flip side, I want to point out, I think it's horrible that you guys have offices mentioned up here, private offices, hotels, any kind of market rate housing. Market rate housing should not be in a county facility when the city of LA is being torn up in the county, building tons of market rate housing. That's not the weakness. The problem is non-market rate housing, where average folks, working class folks, and that's what the city needs. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maria Ruiz. I'm a resident of Boyle Heights and a part of Inner City Struggle Organization. And I have a question, because I want to know if you have this information available to the residents. Like, for example, right now, we just received this, okay? This information. We are here, but as you see, we're not many people here. This information has to be available online, and also it's a good suggestion that you can have minutes so everybody know what is happening here and what are the decision making, everything. This is very important for us as citizens and residents, because I I'm feeling part of this, but my community is big, it's large. There's many residents that do need to know what is going on there. And also, I'm worried about the homeless. Like this gentleman said, all around my house, I have many families, many people that are in need. This is very, very sad, because every morning when I wake up and I take my son to school, I see every day those people, and this is sad for me as a person to see this crisis that we're living, So that's my concern. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Thank you for your comments and concerns. We are working on setting up a website where all the previous community at large PowerPoints will be up. Additionally, we're webcasting this community at large meeting tonight, so it's going to be recorded. So as soon as the website is set up, it's also going to be posted. So those members that weren't able to watch it tonight or weren't able to attend can watch the entire community at large meeting. We also have, and I'm not sure if you visited Station 2, we have members of our community engagement team that are going out to a number of community meetings every month. And if you have normal or regular community meetings and would like us to come attend, please talk with Frank in the back and we will get you scheduled to come to your community and have a more personal conversation with your community.
Yeah, Monica?
So I just want to say that that's part of the reason why I got involved. I think that, we as a community need to continue to be engaged. I mean, there's several people that I've seen here before and then new people that I'm seeing, pero I'll just say it in Spanish. Es muy important, I'm sorry, because she's translating. I'm sorry. But I think it's really important that we continue to tell people that this is happening. I've been part of this, the Health Innovation Partnership, and one of the big things that I've been pushing is we need to get out to the community. So please let people know about what's happening. You can also follow the HICCUP, it's HICP -LA, and we're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We don't have a lot of likes or a lot of followers, but we're trying to get that into the public and provide this information. So again, you have a voice, tell your neighbors, you need to be part of this. It's really, really important, because I would hate for something to be built that does not fit the needs of the community, okay?
Thank you. I think we have time for a couple more questions.
Can I hold it for you? Hello, my name is Beatrice Zaragoza. I'm a small business owner in Boyle Heights. I actually own 2 businesses. I'm also a board member for the Chamber, the Police and Business Association, and I also sit on the board for Mariachi Plaza Festival Foundation and LA Opera. So as a business owner and Boyle Heights, I kind of have personally see the struggles that our small businesses are going through due to parking, but I also noticed that we've struggle economically due to the heavy concentration of low-income housing within Mariachi Plaza. So personally, I believe in a balance of low-income housing and market rate housing. And because without the market rate housing, the local businesses won't be able to sustain their business and yet provide jobs for the low-income housing recipients that are going to be that could potentially be within that building. So I just believe and I support a balance, and that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay, we will be collecting all of your worksheets and the comments, and we appreciate your time very, very, very much.
But
don't go yet.
leave,
We still have to
don't
do
leave yet.
Don't wait. The most
Don't
important
leave
thing,
yet.
Ivan. Do you want to draw the tickets? Has everyone put their tickets into the raffle? Morning. Everyone, put your tickets in.
Okay. All right, for our first gift basket, 6, 7, 7, 3, 0, wait for it, 4. All right. So if you, thank you. So if you just want to go to the, oh, they're bringing it right up to you right now.
Wow. Congratulations.
Okay, number 2, 6, 7, 7, 3, 1, 6. 6, 7, 7, 3, 1, 6. Going once. Going twice. All right, we'll pick another one.
I'm going to pick.
6, 7, 7, 3, 0, 2. All right.
Yay! Yay, yay, yay. Wow. It's Christmas.
All right, 6, 7, 7, 2, 9, 0. All right. And our last gift basket of the evening, which is it's a dried fruit and nuts along with a $20 Homegirl Homeboy gift card.
Whoa.
677 309. All right, all the way in the back.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time very, very much. Have a safe drive home and happy holidays.